5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Gosh, we couldn't have planned this any better to have a discussion about World War II and then a discussion about the world as it is today, because the similarities and the differences, the fear, the idea of taking over the world. I mean, all those elements are all part of today's world as much as yesterday's world. And Mike Bond is, gosh, such a great writer, and he tells the stories that he writes about with today's news embedded in them, and he would know better than any of us. He's actually lived in some of these places. Mike Bond is on the phone. His credentials say philosopher, ecologist, best-selling author, that goes without saying, a war and human rights journalist. His new book is being hailed as his masterpiece. Of course, that's yet to be seen if this is the masterpiece or not, because you don't get to say that until the person's dead, right? This one is called Assassins. It very well could be the masterpiece. Listen to this. On the front of the book itself, it says, one of the 21st century's most exciting authors is Mike Bond. Again, Assassins, a thriller novel that spans the 30-year history of radical Islam's war against the West, based on his own experiences in the Middle East and elsewhere. Wow. Mike, it's always good to have you on, and thank you for coming back. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Larry. It's a delight to be here. I feel like I'm in Ocala every time I talk to you.
Oh, that's nice. Where are you right now?
I'm in Hawaii doing research. I figured the time to do research in Hawaii is in the wintertime when you don't want to be up in Montana.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I think I'm going to do some research in Hawaii, too. Although Florida's not too bad right now. It's beautiful, as a matter of fact. So, one of the things when we hear, and I'm not trying to be political here, but you hear the current president claiming that the Obama administration created ISIS, etc., and you wonder, is there any truth to that at all? And I'll just say this: I don't think anybody created ISIS intentionally. Maybe mistakes were made that caused things. So I just don't want you to think I'm trying to be political here. But you wonder, as an American, what did we do wrong to make this happen?
You know, that's a very complicated question, Larry, and I too, I try very hard not to be political, and the reason for that is being political gets in the way of solutions. We're all Americans. We have to stick together. We have to find a common path and protect our country. But just if you want, if you want to try to figure out what creates ISIS, you've got to go way back to the 600s AD in the formation of Islam and the expansion of Islam, the very rapid expansion of Islam by wars, attacks. Through those next few centuries, all the way from a little place in Saudi or in Iran, depending on where you come from, and within a century or two, it had conquered all of the Middle East pretty much, and all the way to the Atlantic in North Africa. So, and again, I'm not being political and I'm not taking sides. I'm just trying to say the truth. So Islam has always been an extremely aggressive, explosive religion with a great deal, like all religions, a great deal of disrespect for other religions. And ISIS represents that part of Islam. There's many parts of Islam that are far less violent. But then again, I mean, we go through the centuries of war. There's constant war in the Middle East ever since humans first walked in there.
Yeah.
And at the end of World War I, for instance, France and England created what they call the Sykes-Picot Accord, which divided up the Middle East according to the wishes of France and England, and had nothing to do with the local people there. So that's been a major bone of contention among Middle Easterners for many years, and again, we went in, we've done so many things in the Middle East. We changed governments, we assassinated leaders, we overthrew the democratically elected government of Iran in 1954 because they were not signing the kinds of oil contracts we wanted. We hired a Baghdad thug named Saddam Hussein to shoot the prime minister of Iraq, and he shot himself in the foot. Actually did. So we still made the dictator, if you wish. We have been changing governments in the Middle East with great frequency. I mean, we did it in Russia in 1991.
Yeah.
So, and again, I'm an American. I'm very proud to be an American, and I particularly focused on the well-being and safety of our armed forces and our veterans. So that's where my head is coming from. If you're looking for a kind of motivation, but I have to say it's extremely complicated. And no, Barack Obama did not create ISIS. It's a good question, though, Larry, because what happened, there was no, for instance, after 9/11, which G.W. Bush was warned about 42 times, the Central Intelligence Agency, 42 times, told him there was an attack coming, and he blew them off and went fishing. So we got 9/11. And then, rather than deal with it in Afghanistan, he went out and attacked Iraq in 2003, again knowing that there were no weapons of mass destruction. That was a total lie. So that was a complete destabilization again of the entire Iraqi Syrian region, and led to the present. And you know, I mean, most young Americans, if they had grown up in Iraq and the constant attacks from the U.S., they would have fought us. It's a question of where you come from. So, what Obama did that was very wrong, though, Larry, was in 2009, when he came to the presidency, he started to dial down our presence in Iraq, and he left a power vacuum that, and at that point, we had the country pacified, and we should have stayed on top of it. But he dialed it down. The country came apart again. But then we had the disaster in Syria, which is just atrocious, and all of that partially Barack Obama has to be blamed for. But it's a big mess, and everybody's contributed. That's the long answer.
Yeah, no, and there's more to it than that. And then there's also the whole Israel part of this whole conflict is the when did Israel cease to be a nation? Was it the year 79 AD or something like that? It was like way back. And so that's when 1948 came around, and we said, okay, let's put it back in its place. All those Palestinians who had, claimed that land as theirs, suddenly say, what? This is, and to this day, 2017, they're still, having they're upset about it, and somehow it all connects with everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it all connects. Is Israel, that again goes back for 5,000 years. But again, the Sykes-Picot Accord in 1919 set aside part of that area for the Jewish people. And after World War II, it became obvious that the Jewish people needed some place that was a refuge because they had been massacred throughout Europe. The problem with the Israeli situation is and the Jews have occupied that land for as long or longer than the Palestinians. The problem is that you have 1.5 billion Muslims surrounding a nation of 8 million people. And I was in the 1967 Six Days War, and I can say that the hatred of the Muslims toward the Jews is just it's uncontrollable and
what we heard is they don't teach their children that there is a country called Israel. We heard this. I don't know if it's correct or not. Maybe you can give us some.
Oh yeah, it's correct.
Okay, so the textbooks of the children in the Palestinian children don't even show a country called Israel.
No, and in fact, I was saying to someone the other day that I've probably talked to several thousand Muslims over the years in many different countries about Israel, and I have never found one who would support Israel. Not one.
Really?
In other words, it's so violent that, and again, Islam. The word Islam means I submit, and it means I submit to this single world view. And a Muslim can be executed for not following exactly every single teaching in the Quran.
Which is probably the typical American Muslim. An American Muslim is probably fitting into that category.
Mm-hmm.
To a certain extent, I have to say yes. I as much as, again, having spent a lot of time with Muslim people, lived with them in their homes, wandered through their countries, there are many reasons why this religion is dangerous. Not only the enslavement of women, which is complete, absolute complete. When you walk around an entire country and not one single woman is visible behind these hideous veils and gowns, and then when they can't come out in the street, without a family member, a male family member. The other day a woman got decapitated in Saudi because she went to the market without a male in accompanying her. And this kind of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
This and women routinely in Muslim countries get burned to death for looking at a man in a public place. I mean, maybe they're just checking to see whether the sky is blue. You have no knowledge. But
yeah.
all of that, Islam really has to change, or we're going to be, as you said in the intro to this show, we're really going to be back in a World War II situation. We basically are.
I wonder if we are already, yeah. All right, the book is called Assassins. Mike Bond is a real master at this, so let's take a break. And not only is he a master at writing, but he has lived through some of the stuff that this is based on. So let me be fair to the book, if we could be. I know we're talking all over the map because it's such an interesting topic, but I want the listeners to know what's in the book as well. So let's do that on the other side of the break. We'll be right back with Mike Bond after the break, and we'll do that break right now. It looks like it's just a short one. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accidents. Tuesday will be a warm, humid day with sunshine followed by increasing clouds. Look for a shower or two this afternoon, the high 78 to 82. Partly to mostly cloudy and mild Tuesday nights with a shower in spots along the coast, low 60 to 64. Wednesday will be warm with intervals of clouds and sun, high 80 to 84. Thursday, partly sunny with an afternoon shower, high 79 to 83. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hey, this is Matt Wilkerson from Verizon. You work all day, right? So why would you want to spend your night out shopping for that new phone? Well, Marion County, let me and Verizon help you out. I can deliver to your home or office, saving you precious time. Phone, tablets, internet, home phones, even accessories. Whatever you need, we will deliver free of charge. Call me at the store, 352-528-0020. That's 528-0020.
It has been said that the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Well, same goes for the fair sex too. This year, let Cupid, aka Honey Baked Ham, help you and your sweetie celebrate. Make it easy and convenient. Choose ham, turkey, roast beef, salad, bread, desserts. Speaking of desserts, be sure to check out the cheesecake sampler. Everything is just perfect. So stop by Honey Baked Ham at 2709 Southwest 27th Avenue behind Best Buy or call 861-0011. That's 861-0011.
Come to the 4th Annual Habitat Strawberry Festival on March 4th, 2017 at the McPherson Government Complex. The festival's goal is not only to have vendors, food, a car show, a kids zone, live entertainment featuring one flight up, a lip sync competition, police versus fire department pie eating contest, and all things strawberry. But to also raise funds to build a Habitat home for a family in our community. Check out the website, habitatocala.org, and follow the link. The Habitat for Humanity Strawberry Festival is March 4th with breakfast served at 7:30. Free parking, free admission. Coming this and every second Friday of the month at 11 a.m. is Trinity Healthcare Medical Center with your host, Dr. David Kuhn. Trinity Healthcare Medical Center is Ocala's only progressive primary care clinic. Be sure to listen in and also check their website at thcmc.com. Then call them with your questions at 512-0000. That's 512-0000. That's every second Friday at 11 a.m. for Trinity Healthcare Medical Center here on The Source WOCA.
You deserve a little getaway, so WOCA and Red Roof Inn are going to give you one. Throughout the month of February, tune in to AM Ocala Live, especially at 50 minutes past the hour. Why 50 minutes past the hour? Because Red Roof Inn now has over 50 Red Roof Inn Plus locations with new upgrades and amenities to make your stay great. And we're giving some lucky listeners a free night stay at any Red Roof Inn around the country. All you have to do is listen for Larry and Robin to tell you to call. So tune in and win from WOCA and Red Roof Inn.
All right, 19 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Mike Bond is on the phone in Hawaii doing research, Robin. His book is called Assassins. If you've been following Mike Bond, you know that he is really one of the best writers of our day.
He is fabulous.
His new book, Assassins, is what we're focusing on. It is a thriller novel, but listen, I mean, he taps into his own experience and his own research. He lived in the Middle East and elsewhere and kind of saw firsthand a lot of the stuff he's talking about. Do you know, Mike, I wanted to ask you a question about that. I've never lived in the Middle East, but I have Facebook friends who are in the Middle East, or at least who had lived. The point I'm getting at is that it seems like the average person, just the person who just wants to go to work or go to school and then come home, they're as much in dismay as the rest of us as to what's going on. It doesn't seem like they necessarily subscribe to the philosophies of the radicals.
Oh, that's definitely true, Larry, and I think that's true all over the world. I think most people would just want to take care of their families and do their job and live as a happy life as they can. And it's the small percentage of frenetic, radical people who are not happy in that and are seeking a battle somewhere else. And the problem, too, again, in Islam, is that the Quran teaches this. The Quran teaches that we must go out and attack. There's so many passages in the Quran that teach not only you must you kill the non-believers, the Christians and the Jews, but you must do it certain ways with a sword through the stomach and all this. I mean, it's the Quran is a diatribe against anyone who's not a Muslim, and this filters down. It filters down into the thinking, particularly of the young men and women who may have trouble getting jobs and there's not much future. So, yes, I certainly concur that most people just want to live a good life and take care of their families.
So how does that not get embraced, or how does if that was in my Bible, and I don't even know it's in my own Bible. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a biblical scholar in any way, but if I saw that, I would say, you know what, this can't be God. How is it possible that thinking people actually? I don't know. Do you know what I'm getting at here? How does that happen?
Yeah. Well, for one thing, if you don't believe it, you're at risk of death. You can be executed for it's called apostasy, and many people are executed on a constant basis in Muslim countries, particularly in places like Saudi Arabia, for just not believing it or not following what it's supposed to do. So there's an enormous pressure to do so. And 1,000 years ago, or 800 years ago, or even in Christian countries in the past, there's been a tendency the same way, but not to this extent, and not in modern times. And what I tried to do in Assassins, Larry, really is I wanted to tell the truth, because if a lot of the major media, if you look at CNN and believe. If you get your news from CNN, you don't have the faintest idea of what's really going on in the world, for instance. What I tried to do is to tell the truth, what's really going on, and in order to do that, I wanted the readers to feel what it's like.
Yeah.
I wanted them to be there. I wanted them to see what it's like to be in the midst of a firefight, or in some horrible town in Iraq that's being bombed, or so that's the only way we can really understand the truth. I'm coming back to your question in a roundabout way, Larry, is to actually experience things. And so what I'm trying to do in my books is to give the real experience over the last 30 years of our war with Islam, to really understand what we've done wrong, what we should have done better, what they do wrong, how we need to contain them, how we can protect ourselves for the future. As I said, it all comes back for me to our veterans. I don't want to see our armed forces losing people overseas.
Right.
And through your book, you really do a great job of expressing that. You have different generations. You have different characters that have different careers in life. They're the different genders, and that is truly an accomplishment, sir, to have all of this together.
Well, thank you very much. That's what I tried. I mean, in Assassins, you see the book, you see the events, first of all, from the head character, the main character, who's an American commando, but you also see it from the view of the Russian tank major, from the view of a terrorist, from the view of a British journalist and a French doctor. I'm trying to give the reader what I have learned in the last 30 years in the Middle East, and I'm trying to give it to each reader in one book. The excitement, the terror. I have to say, some of the times I have been there have been among the most terrifying of my life. To be in a foreign country alone.
I bet. Oh, yeah. Well, and yeah, can I capitalize on what you just said right there and ask a question? And this probably is political. And I'm going to maybe take a minute to tell you this. Okay. So if I look at the pictures of the refugees, who's the actor who just went over there to talk to the refugees to try to show us all They're not bad. They're nice people.
Oh,
Okay.
I can't
No,
recall.
some of them are nice. Okay. Oh gosh.
Was it Brad Pitt? I can't
No, it
remember.
was anyway. But the point is, yeah. I mean, Conan O'Brien did the same thing. He went over to a refugee camp and he was talking to them, and they were nice guys playing ping pong. Okay. Well, but they're healthy young men. How come they don't? How come they don't band together instead of leaving their country? Why don't they band together in their country and fight off ISIS? And if I could just tap on another thing, is the fact that we allow guns in America what prevents it from happening here? In other words, if that started happening here, all of us, instead of being refugees, we would just say, we got guns, let's go get them. But they're prevented from having guns over there.
That's a very complicated question. Again, you've obviously studied this and thought about it a lot, Larry. But I would say, as far as the refugees are concerned, it's interesting that when this latest ban, the president set out on the 8 countries, which are principally Muslim, within a couple of days, there were 90,000 people who were affected. In other words, who couldn't come to the United States. That is the avalanche of people coming into this country. It's astounding. It's thousands of people, and many of them from the Middle East. And yes, many of them, the majority, are probably just looking for a better life, but we don't know which ones are.
Right.
Again,
But my question is, why if there's 90,000 people, why don't they all get together and say, hey, there's 90,000 of us that don't want this horrible stuff going on, and we will fight back? But maybe because the answer is they can't, because they don't have weapons.
I think they can't. First of all, again, it's clans and tribes and different languages, and there's no cohesion over there. Plus, everybody's starving. Another thing that we're touching on without touching on is this enormous elephant in the room, which is overpopulation. North Africa, all of Africa, the Middle East is so enormously overpopulated. There's not enough food. There are no jobs. These people are looking for a way out, but they want to take their religion, they want to take their lifestyle and impose it here, and that's what I don't like.
Absolutely. Oh, none of us want that. Well, Mike, I fear that we only talked about the book a little bit, but obviously your background tells us a lot. Trust me, listeners, this is a great book. It's called Assassins. I'm not finished with it, but I'm going to give away the copy I have, and I'll get my own. If you would like the copy I have, call me. I'll put your name on it. 622-9622 is the number. Otherwise, we have to buy it. MikeBondBooks.com. Correct, Mike?
Yeah, and it's available on Amazon. It's available usually in your public library, but you can get it immediately from Amazon, either as print or an ebook.
Okay.
Is there an American embassy in Iran?
No, there is not. No, we work through other embassies, principally through the Swiss embassy.
Okay, so if families go over there, like if women marry the men who are citizens over there, once the woman goes over there, she's not protected then?
No, in fact, in many cases, she can't get out. And if they have children, the children can't get out. It's extremely tragic.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Let me see if I have a taker for the book. Pick a number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How about this one here?
Okay.
Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this? Whoa. Who's this?
Ron.
Juan?
Ron.
Okay. Do you know where we are?
You're in the mall, right by the food court, right?
Yes. And you said your name is Juan, right?
Ron. R-O-N.
Oh, Ron. Ron. Okay, got it.
Ron.
All right, Robert. Okay. All right, thanks. It'll be waiting for you. Bad connection there or something. Mike, thank you for being on the air with us today.
Thank you very much, Larry, and my very best wishes to everyone out there in the Ocala region. And you're in a wonderful part of the world, and take good care of it.
And you're in a wonderful part of the world, right? Yeah.
I'm doing my best, you guys. Don't pick on me.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you both so much. You take care.
Keep up the good work. We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. It's expected at midday the Senate vote on Betsy DeVos as Education Secretary. It could well be a 50-50 tie, leaving Vice President Mike Pence with the deciding vote.